Howdy Twitchers, this is Jim Tremaine from DJ Times Magazine, and in today's Twitch entry, we're taking a short detour. Instead of connecting with a big global DJ producer, we're talking to someone whose main work has always been behind the scenes, Miss Shari Aronin. And Shari, I'm going to give you a little big up here, so bear with me. I met Shari in the 90s when she and her business partner, Amanda Pearl, ran Hands on Deck, which was a New York-based booking and management company. They handled lots of underground artists and events. They brought lots of European DJs over to the States, like Mr. C, Leo and Bushwacka and others. They also booked venues like New York's legendary Twilo, did a lot of one-off events as well. Shari's next venture involved events, produced innovative charitable events and VIP experiences across the globe with the world's top DJs, producers, and record labels to benefit children worldwide in partnership with UNICEF. After spending a decade raising a family, she's back in the game with IGNIGHTLIFE, presents Industry Fuel, an immersive virtual event experience for dance music professionals. Set for May 15, this Saturday at 5 p.m., IGNIGHTLIFE will feature a dozen stages and industry booths, including one from DJ Times, plus various things like speed networking, which is pretty unique. I did a speed network the other day, and it was pretty cool. Online performances for IGNIGHTLIFE will feature DJ sets from Goose Goose, DJ Sneak, and some of the guys from Miss Moneypennies, Jim Shaft Ryan and Jeff Jefferson, among others. For more on the event and to grab a ticket, please visit IGNIGHTLIFE. That's IGNIGHT life.com. Fuel event, and we'll give you that. We'll give you that link again. But I want to welcome Shari aboard. How you doing, Shari?
Hi, Jim. Great to see you.
Absolutely. It's been a while.
It's been such a long time. I would say it would be about 20 years, but I saw you on a tour of IGNIGHTLIFE just last week. So before that, right, it was about 20 years.
Yeah, well, yeah, thanks for having us. And we're going to get into IGNIGHTLIFE and that experience very soon. But you've definitely lived an interesting life, as certainly as it pertains to dance music, and we want to get into that. I think you're in Orlando, Florida right now. Is that correct?
Yes, I escaped New York about a year after September 11th.
Okay, good timing.
Orlando has a rich history, with dance music and breaks and progressive house, and I used to send a lot of my DJs down here and have a lot of contacts. There were a lot of record pools here, Balance, and a lot of DJs here. So it's very rich.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys, the DJ Threes and the Peter Wahelskis and the people from the whole Tampa, Gainesville, Middle Florida scene, they really had it going on in the 90s.
Yeah, and there was Oz down here, and Firestone, and Kimball Collins, Andy Hughes, Dave Canal, or those boys were down here, and some still here.
Yeah, and then Florida was really kind of like the place that the Chemical Brothers broke. So, yeah, it was a hell of a place.
And then Afterworks, which is where Amanda was working, my partner Amanda Pearl, before we joined up. She was a marketing director at Afterworks, which had Chemical Brothers. Yeah,
that's right. And Peter signed them. So let's get into your history. Where did you grow up, and how did music start to take an integral part of your life?
I'm a New York girl. I grew up on Long Island. There was a club in Long Island we used to go to called Spies, which was more alternative into electronica in the 80s. And
was it spelled funny like a hair metal band?
It was SPIZE.
Of course it was.
Yeah. It was a big club on Long Island. I can't remember the town.
And what town did you grow up in?
I grew up in West Hempstead.
Okay, right in the middle.
Nassau County, yeah. And then my family lived in Oceanside after that, by the beach, which was really nice. And actually an influence of my childhood, we had a cabana, like a town of Hempstead cabana at Malibu, the strip on the Point
Lido Beach.
Lido Beach. So we had summer cabana there, and that was awesome. But Malibu was also a club. So, I used to, go in high school and see shows at Malibu, sneak the key to the cabana, take the friend.
The one show I saw at Malibu was one of the last Ramones shows, so it wasn't a DJ show.
No, that was just, it was in the 80s. So it was like the Specials and Adam Ant and the Bunnymen kind of days. Yeah.
Oh, so were you a WLIR girl?
I actually worked on the listener line at WLIR.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
In high school, I volunteered, and that was, B-52's years and
New Order.
Yep, and that's where all the Depeche Mode, New Order, all those sounds started coming in. But my influences, that really my parents were very much into music. My mom was into disco. She had the 8-track. She loved the Bee Gees, Staying Alive. She's loved dancing, ball of energy, life of the party, super, amazing, outgoing woman. So she always had that music. And then my father had huge collection of music and that old teak reel, that you see people post about. So
sure.
My parents were very much into music, but really my mom was the 70s disco. Then we used to go on trips up to the Catskills and like dance in the, in all those hotels over there, you do.
Okay, the Borscht Belt discos?
And then I would like go to the disco as a kid, and so those were the beginning roots.
Okay. You probably saw a couple of comedians up there, I would hope.
Yes. But people were laughing at my dancing. I know that.
Okay, whatever works. But so how did you sort of Sorry,
I was going to say we take the train to the city all the time and go to all the clubs. Yeah,
I was going to say, hopping on the Long Island Railroad isn't so far to go to Penn Station. You were probably like 45 minutes away.
Yes.
And so talk a little bit about your formative years of clubbing. Everybody has that moment where they think, God, it doesn't get any better than this. I love this so much. Give us an idea of the music you were hearing and maybe some of the DJs you were listening to as well.
Yeah, in the beginning, we would go. It was about the experience in the club more than the DJ in the beginning, or
sure.
Maybe for me as well. I was in high school, so I didn't know about DJs. It was like taking the train and going to these amazing clubs. Going to see, where Jelly Bean and Madonna was, but you didn't know it was Jelly Bean and Madonna. You just
the Danceteria, things like that.
Danceteria, then there was, I'm going to mix them all up in years, but it was Save the Robots After Hours and the East Village, and it was Red Zone and Club USA.
Oh my God, Club USA with the big slide. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was Times Square. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then Mud Club, Danceteria, The World, and those were the clubs that were just before like Nassau and the rave culture began. So my experience was a mix of those clubs, and then the beginning of the big raves that came, and then also Sound Factory Bar and Jackie 60 on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, in the Meatpacking District.
The Meatpacking District, and also what Soul Slinger was doing at the Egg, with the drum and bass on another Tuesday night. So I mixed a lot of genres. House.
Giant Step was another one. Yeah.
Yeah, Giant Step. In fact, my first Hands on Deck office was above Giant Step on White Street.
It's funny. We'll get into it later, but I have some pictures from a DJ Expo that you helped out with, and I think some of the Giant Step people are in them. So you'll get a kick. Oh yeah, I'll show them to you in a minute. But let me get back into how you got into the actual business of it. Did you start interning? What was your real entry point?
Just kind of fell in love with the music and put myself in it. So I had that club experience. My ex-boyfriend brought me some decks. We started collecting records. We would go to parties, clubs. Have a crew of us. There was a bunch of people that were starting the internet. I was working at MTV, that's where it was, but there was no dance music at the time. So I started getting more into the music and really falling in love with house music and the whole lifestyle, what was happening. And it was so exciting then. And so we pitched shows. I had a partnership before Hands on Deck with a friend from college and a producer friend. And we would pitch shows to MTV and they would tell us, there's no video. So we started producing videos. We actually produced Todd Terry's Keep On Jumpin' for Logic Records. Right. And we had a big premiere in like the Virgin Megastore in Times Square, which was right by Viacom where I was working. That was exciting. And we just and when I was working there, my boss came from the fashion world, and we were on a project that we were going to be the hip QVC on every channel. But we had a lot of time in between. So as I was getting more into the music and learning and researching, what was happening in London and Chicago and Detroit, I thought that when we had a 24-hour merchandise channel that I was going to have, the 2 to 4 a.m. DJ show. So I started collecting. So I met my partner, Amanda. I went to labels, I collected videos, I collected coffee table books, flyers, flyer books, just trying to get my hands on everything that we could be selling on the show. And that never went. The pilots never became a series. But that's what I started developing. So while we were waiting for the business people to crunch the numbers, my boss was brought over to do the Fashion Awards, the VH1 Fashion Awards. So I went to the producer and made myself the music consultant. So I put the first dance tracks out that way on VH1.
And this is before the days of AMP at MTV?
Well, yes, because we actually were in a pitch meeting with Todd from AMP, way before AMP.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I wasn't on the music side. I was on this shopping side, projects, and as I was just talking about. So I had time. We were deciding whether we were going to be a channel 24/7. And I just put myself in projects wherever I can get dance tracks out. VH1 Fashion Awards. I booked Casper Pound and some other DJs to play at the MTV Music Awards. And then Jody Wisternoff dropped in my lap. And I just walked into Twilo and said, let's book some international DJs. And then Amanda and I became, helped with Mike Binder turning Twilo around for Twilo Friday nights.
Right, and let's put this in context. This is early mid-90s.
Yes.
And so the scene at the time was really interesting in New York because on one hand, you had the end of this sort of pop music, dance music, which was like the kind of the Paula Abdul, CNC Music Factory, very, Strike It Up, those kinds of things that were hits. They were legitimate hits and good music for what they were. But there was this enormous underground that was bubbling under that you really had to go to the events to really get what was happening. And there was a whole world that was not hip to it yet.
The events and the record stores, but you're completely right, Jim. There was the parties I remember that Scott did from Satellite Records,
Mm-hmm.
Richie Haughton.
Scott Richmond, yeah.
Yes, Scott Richmond, which I've seen recently and reconnected with on Clubhouse.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott. And he did that amazing, like Richie Haughton under the Brooklyn Bridge party. I forgot what it was called. I still have the flyer.
Yeah, Maddie Silver was doing events. There was a bunch of these things going on, and sort of like I want to say maybe 96-ish.
Yes.
Bigger, Spin and maybe Rolling Stone a little bit started to get hip to what was happening, and MTV started to pay attention, and then the electronica thing kind of started to happen where people discovered Underworld, Chemical Brothers, The Prodigy seemed to be the first one to break out, and it kind of changed the game a little bit, and it brought a lot of people out to the clubs to the point where a club as enormous as Twilo was just packed for years.
For years, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Teneglia had the first nights at Twilo. When we went in there, we wanted to book some international DJs, and he was holding court on, I think, Saturday nights.
Saturday nights, he would play like 3 out of the 4 Saturday nights, and on the 4th one, it was Peter Rauhofer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we did Friday nights, but we did a mix of. We loved a lot of sound, so we booked nights Detroit techno with Stacey Pullen and Carl Craig and
Derek May and
Derek May. Yes, thank you, Kevin Saunderson, and then we hooked in Nick Warren and Jody, and this was simultaneous at the same time was happening, and then with Jimmy from Van M from Balance was a few months after we were starting Friday nights. He was also talking and did the Sasha and Digweed residency, for Twilight.
Which turned out to be one of the legendary residencies in New York.
Yeah.
People would come from all over the country for that one gig once a month. And if you got there between 2 and 4, it was almost hard to breathe.
Yeah, it's incredible. Those nights were amazing. They're unparalleled.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that you were doing with Hands on Deck. I know you were doing one-off events. You were booking DJs all over the country. It must have been a very heady time, and especially for the Europeans coming over here. In Europe, dance music was somewhat overground, and we were having this conversation the other day where you'd go to, I don't know, Germany or England, and you'd walk into a store and they would be playing the BBC radio, and it would be all this hip music, you know, a Josh Wink track that you only heard in clubs was on the radio over there. So
it was another world when you used to go to London. You couldn't believe it. Yeah, and they had, like, just like you said, the BBC radio, and you can hear throughout the country, and people were clubbing from all walks of life. Whereas when you went back to the States, you know, it was the underground, you know, really music fans, really fans of the culture and the DJs. You know, it wasn't lawyers and bankers like it is now, you know, but that's what it was in London.
It wasn't hedge fund people, buying booths or, you know, buying bottles. Yeah, it was a
Ministry of Sound, and, you know, everybody was out. But that was very exciting, going to all the record stores in London, Black Market, and, you know, digging out those records, you know, because that was more, you know, what was accessible there. They wanted our records and we wanted their records.
Yeah, it was a very different culture. It was very sort of analog, hands-on kind of thing. And you know, obviously the internet changed everything for in some ways for better, in some ways for worse. But the industry changed dramatically. I mean, you know, in the 90s, I just remember going to Twilo. It was almost like I had to pop my head in at least once a weekend, whether it was the Friday or the Saturday.
Yep.
It was really must listen, and I spent so much time between there and the club that became known as ARC, where Danny Tenaglia was playing as well. And you know, the reality is a club like ARC couldn't even exist now because they didn't serve booze.
Yeah, and there was vinyl too, right?
Well, vinyl was ARC. Yeah, it was the same. It was the same. Yeah, it was the same building, but it was yeah. You can't do that anymore because the rents are just way too high, and the world has changed. But before we transition into what you're doing now, I just wanted to remind you of in 1997 you booked the End tour in the United States.
The first one with
so the End, for folks who don't know, was an incredible nightclub in London that was run by a DJ named Mr. C, who was in a group called The Shaman, and a guy named Leo Paskin, who was in a group called Leo and Bushwacka. And incredible sound system, incredible vibe. The DJ booth was in the center of the dance floor. You could walk up to it. It had glass, and you could just look and see what the DJ was playing. It was incredible. And you might have...
sorry to interrupt, the AKA Lounge as well was part of it.
Well, I was about to say, for example, you might see Mr. C and Darren Emerson from Underworld doing a B2B in the main room, but then somebody like Groove Rider, like a big drum and bass DJ, might be playing in the smaller room. And it was all just incredible names. And so you brought Mr. C and Leo and Bushwacka over to the United States. I remember going to see them at the Tunnel, which I thought was an odd place for them to play, but it worked nonetheless. And lucky for us, you convinced Mr. C and Leo to come down to Atlantic City for DJ Expo. And I don't know if you can see this, but that is Mr. C. That's him on a seminar.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and on the same seminars, we have Grammy winner Maurice Joshua with Kevin Williams from 8 Ball.
Oh, yes.
There's Danny Tenaglia with Seven Fisher and Jason Nevins. And there's Roger Sanchez at all of the same show. And I remember thinking, wow, we really got lucky with this one. So, but at a certain point, you decided to leave and you raised a family.
Well, what happened, just to answer what you were asking before, at Hands on Deck, we did artist development. We booked European DJs in North America and did a lot of artist development. But the middle fell out, towards the maybe like 02, 01. There wasn't a lot of parties with 3 rooms for 12 hours. There were a lot of things going on. We also had marketing retainers from dance divisions of major labels, but they were all closing.
And the city was sort of cracking down on nightclubs. Let's not forget that.
Cracking down on nightclubs. There was a glow stick law going on, nationwide. And then the dance divisions were closing. So our marketing retainers helped us build our middle DJs. And then it became just the opener and the superstar in only clubs. So even though we just talked about Twilo, we built a lot of our DJs at raves, as well, and one-off parties. And we also did events at Music Conference. Actually, we did another one with Danny, not intentionally, but we did the first weekend of the Old Space. It was Hands on Deck, 1,000 Words and Green Galactic. And we had a party called Tech, and we had to bus people from Miami to go downtown. If you can imagine that, nobody was going downtown.
I remember that.
It was
actually.
like 2000, and we had Tech Trance, Tech Breaks, Tech House, 4 rooms, and it was an amazing party. People are still talking about it. And
well,
then,
I remember that night because I had one of those rental cars that I punched the wrong address into, and I ended up in Liberty City for some reason. And people in my car were flipping out. But we did find the club, and it was a hell of a party. It was a great night out, I remember. But yeah, things completely changed with the industry, and also the nightclub scene in New York. All of a sudden, it went kind of from a million different types of venues, different sized venues, to bottles and superstars.
Yep.
There were a few one-off things going on, but not enough to sustain themselves over time. So, like you say, the bottom fell out a little bit for a business like yours.
I'm just thinking, it makes me think of that track, Bottom Heavy.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, so Amanda and I had been doing the agency for 10 years, and all that things were happening. And then it was September 11th, and as you mentioned, I flew in the first End tour, but we were known for breaking artists. And even if they weren't on our roster, we had some domestic talent, like 3 you mentioned before, on our roster. It's one of my favorite DJs. But we mostly broke European artists. They were either on our roster or we did a first tour. Tarantella and Radenka, Parks and Wilson, Adam Freeland and Freak Nasty, New School Break sounds, but nobody was flying after September 11th as well. So that was another thing. So I was like, okay, I need a break. Got an opportunity to come down to Florida. And I said, that's it, I'm done. But within a couple of months, of course I got right back in it when a hurricane came through my house in Charlie. And my partner and I started doing VIP fundraising. And it doesn't sound so amazing if I'm telling you now, but if you can think about, it was 03 to 07. So there was no Facebook. We had MySpace and Constant Contact, and there's nobody doing any charitable events in dance music at all. So we did VIP experiences across the globe, and we did fun fundraising. For example, in Miami, we had a DJ bowl-a-thon at Lucky Strike every year, so you can bowl with Pitang and Sasha and
Sarah. Yeah, we did one of those. Yeah.
Yep. So that was the involved event. So I did that for about 4 years. That was amazing, which you mentioned before at the start. Yes, and then I took a break that I wanted to take. Yep. And it was just there was an incredible music scene, like I was saying, but, I had a child. I became a single parent, which is really tough. I couldn't, take her to the club with me as a baby. I don't think that would have been good. And I just, stepped out. But music is always, from the things we talked about, it's my soul. It's what I love. So I started a little kids dance party called Mini House Club, just locally. That was really fun. I would talk about it more if we had more time. But then, I lost my mom, so I had to put that project aside. So, like a lot of us did, that, we're having these amazing connecting conversations on Clubhouse. And there are a bunch of people that, stepped out to raise a family, lost parents, other situations. And
life happened.
A bunch of us coming back, as well. And Clubhouse.
What drew you back in? Was it these Clubhouse conversations?
It was coming to see. I was about to relaunch Mini House Club about a month before the pandemic, but just talking about it, I didn't have everything organized, but I was like, after mourning and taking long to, after lost my mom, I said, okay, I did all these amazing things. I have to show my daughter that you can make something from nothing. I had to do something where she can be involved when she was 5. So I did a kids dance party, and then I had put it aside, as I said. So right before the pandemic, I was about to relaunch it because people said, oh, best kids event and such. And so, that was my luck, pandemic, we can't do events. And then took me a little while. And then I was like, I really have to jump on somewhere and put this on virtually. The DJs are home with their record collections and their kids, and this would be a perfect time to, do something fun while the kids are home and struggling with their virtual learning, and just have a fun parties for families, to get through this time. But magic happened with that week when I jumped onto Clubhouse. And I met Eric Reynolds, who's the co-founder of Boom Rattle Boom and Ignite Life. He was DJ Moda back in the 90s. He has a rich history as well, the same 3-4 decades in dance music. And I reconnected with a lot of people, and Ignite Life project came up. So Mini House Club is on the side. We'll probably put it through the platform as we develop it, but I'm back in the game. Never been happier. I'm in my element. And I don't know why I said I wanted to put it aside before. Maybe I was very burnt out. You know how it goes.
Yeah, it happens. And New York City nightlife is as exciting as it is, and it was. You definitely have to sleep at a certain point. And when you're a mother, it's a very different calling. So tell us a little bit about Ignite Life. Who is it for, and what will it be doing when it kicks off at 5 o'clock Saturday Eastern time?
Ignite Life it's an immersive virtual club. I mean, you went through the tour. You have to see it to believe it. It's a platform that was, it's really like a top conference platform that Eric Reynolds and his partner, Shari Aronin, who are our co-founders, they have customized for the music industry. They really wanted a platform. They didn't want to build it from scratch. They have a rich history as well. They wanted to do something to revitalize, reignite what was going on during the pandemic. And they've been partnering with Airmeet for about a year to work on this. And then when we re-met the first week, it's about almost 3 months ago, when I went onto Clubhouse, and they brought myself and Jeff Jefferson from Miss Moneypenny's on as co-directors for industry and artist relations, and just met, a great team. Every day is fun. Reconnecting with people and meeting new people, and just bringing up people on board to this amazing project. So that really didn't answer your question. Sorry. So what? But that's it.
But let's talk a tiny bit about the platform, because, like I said, I got initiation the other day, and it's a pretty easy platform to get through. And there's a lot going on there. I don't know if it was Eric who mentioned. He said this is sort of like Clubhouse meets Twitch on steroids.
It's Clubhouse meets Twitch meets Mixcloud on steroids.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's what we like to say, because until you're through it, it's hard to articulate. But what it is, it's people think we're talking about virtual reality, but no, this is 2D. We're on, like we are today, like on a Zoom like app integration. And then the software was built for conferences, so we were thinking, yes, we can, if the pandemic goes on and Winter Music Conference, ADE, we can throw conferences as well. But what we wanted to do, as coming in, Jeff and I, as industry and relations, we wanted to throw a launch party like you're going to those conferences that we talked about before, Jim, and you're going to an industry party and you're showcasing DJs, and you're going to like NAMM at the same time, where there's an arena of booths of, manufacturers, record labels, software companies, merchandisers, all related to dance music, our culture, our brilliant, amazing light culture. And then we have, oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to not have my phone on earlier. I forgot. Usually I'm behind the scenes prepping the DJs. Yeah, was a little nervous for today, Jim. Usually I'm, publicist behind telling people, don't have your phone on, look at the camera. Right. So we wanted to, and we also have a Octane Lounge, like a social lounge. It's going to have 100 tables. The tables go up to 50. We have speed syncing. It's speed networking, but we affectionately renamed it to speed syncing. And you're randomly matched with,
you're
sorry.
Popular lady today.
Sorry. We're randomly matched with people in the club. You could be, okay.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna turn this on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You're randomly matched with people in the club, and you can say, hey, this was a good 2-3 minutes. Let's go get a table, or let's go to Insiders session or Gus session. So let me recap, and it's an immersive, connecting, engaging platform where you know, a lot of DJs who come through, like Paul Hutchinson, who's our first DJ to test the platform. Does Mixcloud Live all the time. He says, sometimes I just, you know, feel a little down after engaging in the chat, you know, but on this platform, you know, feel totally connected to people. So we're going to have 12 virtual stages. We're going to have, I'll tell you about the lineup. We're going to have interview sessions. We're going to have the Octane Lounge where you can sit at tables and speed sync with people. One of our sponsors, SocioTab, they have a QR code, and you know, that's the virtual business cards on the night, so you can swap information with a QR code. And then we have the booths, which DJ Expo, as we're honored to have you as one of our booth sponsors too. So what you're going to be doing is you're going into those DJ sessions. It has more like of an immersive club festival atmosphere, but there's different areas where you can connect to people, see people on the screen, sit at a table with 50 people, have a laugh. You know, we're really all about fun. We want, you know, it's a fun, even on the tours when we have just 10 people at a time, people are connecting, you know, seeing each other again. And I can imagine, you know, what the launch is going to be like on Saturday. The artists are going all out. You know, what people will see, we're not going to restream it. It's like you're at a club. If you don't come to the night, you know, you miss it.
And this is for upstarts, professionals, people who have been in the business, and it's free.
It's a free event. It's limited capacity. We say industry, but we've said, you know, it's open to as well, you know, everyone on Clubhouse. We have an Ignite Life room on Clubhouse with like 400 members that we have a weekly room on. They're all industry, you know, whatever level of the industry you're in, your industry, you can come to the party. You can just go to fuelevent.com, but you have to register to get your ticket by 6 p.m. Friday, tomorrow, because it's a virtual platform. So you got to
You want to give the URL again?
Yes, that would be fuel, F-U-E-L, event.com. So FUELEVENT.com. And just come have fun and have okay, let me tell you about the lineup. You were mentioning some of the lineup before. Insider, you know, like Belgium techno artist, Bonsai Records, you know, CJ Boland just tracks, like amazing producer. He is in a secret location. His hint is wear sunglasses.
Okay. So, I'm warned.
Like drones and production, like movie quality production. Then you mentioned Jim Chef Ryan and Jeff Jefferson from Miss Money Pennies, and they have a new label, Pout. You know, so for example, you can go to their session to see them spin, but then you can go to their booth, their table, and they have a table for meet and greets. They have a table for A&R for their new label, Pout. You know, there's in the booths, you can interact with artists and A&R. You can act with producers. We're going to have I'm announcing my relaunch of Hands on Deck on Saturday night also. Okay. So Amanda will be there, and we're going to have a Hands on Deck booth. But back to the artists.
Amanda.
Enough about me. So we have, I mentioned Paul Hutchinson from Mikasa Sukasa in the UK. We have Lemonade, which one of my favorite progressive house producers. He's been streaming all year, but he, you know, he's the usual, taken down on Facebook. Let's move to Mixcloud, maybe Twitch. Let's paint a green screen in our studio, and he takes people on amazing adventures. But he's like, what's next? I'm looking for the next after year, and Ignite Life is next. The artists are excited. Lemonade's doing DJs and PJs because it's going to be late over there. We have Sneak, who's been killing it on the streams himself, and he's going to do something special for us. Everybody.
And he's never shy.
He's amazing. So no, I know I'm sorry, guys.
Crystal Waters apparently is going to be around.
Oh, this is exciting. Yeah. Well, Gus DJ said, but this is the first time it's with Biggie, Vierde, and Biarke. Biarke and Biggie are doing not only their premiere stream, but the premiere back-to-back as well. So that's super exciting. You know, they haven't been streaming all year, so you can see artists you've never seen. You can see artists you're used to seeing, but in this, you can actually talk to them at tables and speed sync with them. And then we have amazing DJs that we call like our friends from Clubhouse. You know, they're the showcasing artists that are the newer artists, amazing DJs, which is Orlegal, Techno LA, Mika Kitten, who's like amazing melodic techno from Japan, and Sir Ramon from New York. who has his tracks have been played on Clubhouse, and he's got an EP and singles coming out that everybody's clamoring over. Really nice deep house. So really, did I forget anyone, Jim? Because
I don't think so. I mean, we're gonna be there. I'm probably gonna take about a 3-minute break to watch the Preakness horse race. But yeah, I'll be there. The cool thing about the platform and the event I found is that it's a pretty easy platform to navigate. You can pop into these rooms and have these VIP tables. You can watch or listen to any of the music you want, have conversations. There's presentations going on. There's a lot happening all at once, and it's up to you to how you want to navigate it. And
yeah, and I did forget. Sorry, can I just add for Pitch Control?
Sure.
Pitch Control Marketing is celebrating their 20th anniversary, and you started to say Crystal, so they're not performing, but they're going to be at the Pitch Control booth.
Should be hanging out with Joe. Yes.
They're going to be meet and greets for Crystal Waters and 10 cities, so that is super exciting.
Marshall Byron, how you doing?
Byron. Yeah,
one of my all-time favorite singers. Byron.
And you have to, let's plug DJ Expo, because you guys are giving away passes to the Expo, and we have.
Yes, we will be doing that, and we're very much looking forward to it. Giving away DJ Expo passes, and once again, folks, the show is August 9th to 12th at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. So that's great. So in wrapping up here, Shari, anything else that we need to know about for Saturday's event and beyond?
Yes, you're going to be on camera. Dress up in your gear. Okay. Get ready. You're going to be interacting with everyone. You're going to see old friends. You're going to be new friends. You're going to learn things. In the Gus Gus booth, for example, in Biggie's booth, John Truelove is coming from True Love Publishing. He's so knowledgeable. He works with all the PROs. He can onboard you about your royalties, your rights. We have Think Tank, Joe Jordan's company coming. We have Gold Credentials, and they have a new energy drink that they're working with, and they're having a giveaway for a mini fridge full of energy drinks. So there's like fun. We have Liquid Sky, right? We talk about original 90s,
talk about back in the day. Yeah.
So he's doing some collaborations with X Girl. His shirts are amazing. He's got Soul Slingers coming with that. We have merchandisers. We have companies to help you. We have Isotope. We have so many companies. Robert Olasik is doing his Olasik sessions for visuals. We've got about 20-30 booths for you to explore, products, software, merchandise. The artists will have booths, really interactive, amazing DJ sets that you will not see again. Everybody's doing, people are going to amazing studios, really nice and fun engagements. You really don't want to miss this. It's going to be like the amazing experience. And what you have to know is just to go to that fuelevent.com and register. You have to get it. The tickets are free. They're limited, first come, first serve. And they're tomorrow, 6 p.m. EST, ticketing closes. So it's not something that you can just pop on,
right,
with a link on Saturday. Have to register, and just get ready to have fun and hear the amazing music.
Okay, awesome. That's terrific. And so that's Ignite Life, folks. And be there, be square, but you got to do it before 6 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. I want to thank Shari Aronin for coming on to Twitchland here. And we're looking forward to the show on Saturday. And thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It was so good to catch up. And I can't wait to see you on Saturday. I'm going to come to your booth. I want to win the passes.
Easily done. Easily done.
Should we bring Mr. C back through?
Oh my God! Yeah, that would be a bunch of fun. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for having them again. They had a great time, and it was
that was amazing time. So all right, I will hit you as soon as we sign off here, and we will continue our business. All right, y'all. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. See you Saturday. Thanks, Jim.